Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Listen, we are here. We are back. We are reviewing episode 2 of Reasonable Doubt. We're in season 3, and the episode title is Million and One Questions. All right. Now, as we left off last episode, and what I'll do to consolidate this to make it move a little longer, I'm going to talk about Jax's personal life and then Jax's professional life. Okay, so we're going to get into her personal life now. At the end of the last episode, her father shows up. Hold up, sorry, no, he doesn't. He shows up at this episode. So, but anyway, at the end of the episode, this episode, her father shows up. But let's get into the personal life. Let's get into her and Lewis and Tony, this particular triangle. Let me pull up the PDF file that I have in regards to here we go, the cast. So here we are. So we're going to get into Jax and Lewis's personal life. Now, Jax and Lewis have an issue with Tony. Now, if we're not familiar with Tony, here she is over here to the left, everything you own in the box to the left. Highlighted and asterisked away from her friends. Now, if you look at Sally and Autumn and Chanel, those are Jax's friends group. That's her friend group. Tony used to be in the friend group, but she was mostly in the friend group because of Chanel. Now, here's the issue in this story if you have not figured out what the story is. Back in the last part of season 2, in season 1, Jax had an affair with an old client. In season 2, Lewis had an affair with one of their friend group friendlies, as we call him, Tony. Now he claimed that he had relations with her 3 or 4 times. Now all of this was in response to Jax's tete-a-tete with her client, who was played by Michael Ealy. And while we're talking about this, is it me? But doesn't the Ozzy gives you Michael Ealy esque? Doesn't he give you the appearance of Michael Ealy, minus the blue eyes? Because he doesn't have blue eyes, but Michael Ealy has blue, but he has the same facial structure and the features and things like that. He clearly has that same facial structure and features. Now let's get into what's happening. Jax agrees for Lewis to go over to Tony's house to spend the night. She lays out parameters. The parameters are is that he has to get her to sign the agreement. That's number 1. Number 2, he has to text her every hour, and that she's going to have a telephone call. She's going to call. Okay. If those parameters are not met, he can't stay. So he goes over to Tony's house. He lays out what the parameters are. He gives her the little sheet and she says, well, I'll sign it, but we got to do something. We got to clean out the nursery. And she has a beautiful nursery for their little son, Jaden. It's just beautiful. And she was very she put a lot of thought behind it. That Lewis is a programmer and he does games. And so she had like the Mario Kart thing on the wall. And then because he's from Philadelphia and he likes the Eagles, she had a little Eagles jersey for the baby and all of that. So he was helping her clean out all of this. He was helping her clean out. He was answering the text like he needed to. Now, Jax wanted him to go into detail with the text, but he was just doing enough to text her to say, hey, this is what we're doing. And then I think a couple of hours went by and he did not text. So she decides that she wants to do a FaceTime. Well, that enrages Tony. She says, like, if she's going to call, she's going to mess it up. And partly the reason why she wants Lewis there's 2 reasons. The first one is that she wants to grieve and she does want assistance of breaking down this nursery. Not an issue. She's grieving. She wants him to grieve. And I think that was the issue and the problem she had was the fact that Lewis kind of just like, oh, the baby dead. Well, whew, I ain't got no more connection to you. I'm gone. She didn't like how they left that. She didn't like that. And then plus 3, she's grieving. She does want to have sex with him again. And she makes advances toward him, and he says no, that's not what they want. Now, this would just be my personal thing about this whole situation. Number 1, Lewis, he gets on my nerves. He irks me. He's not a bad dude. He wants to try to do the right thing, but he has a issue. He has a level of wanting to control everything around him, and then he expects people to fall in line with this thing that he's outlined, even when he's doing stuff he ain't got no business. Now, when he was out here, uh, uh, laying it low and spreading it wide with Tony, he was wanting her to keep everything quiet. They would, because it wasn't like they just planned it all the time, but it was enough times that he was trying to control that situation. She was wanting to continue because apparently Lewis got it going on. Lewis can lay it down, and she wanted that to continue. And then when she got pregnant, I honestly think she thought that Lewis was going to leave Jax for her, and that's not how it happened. So she was able to keep him and string him along because she was pregnant and all this other stuff. Because again, he has this he's a good dude and he wants this thing because she was initially she was going to terminate the pregnancy. He was the one that convinced her to keep the pregnancy. She goes through the pregnancy thinking that they were going to co-parent together. And then when she goes into premature labor, gives birth, the baby's in the NIC unit, and then the baby passes away. Now he's like, "Oh, I don't want anything. Well, these problems would have been solved, Lewis, had you allowed this woman to do what she initially started to do." Now she pisses me off because she has not figured out how to stop her whole phase. And Chanel mentioned that earlier. That was part of her issue. She had gone through a couple of husbands because of the fact that she could never stop her whole phase. And so now the product of your whole phase has caught up with you because of the fact that now the baby has bless the little baby's heart, has passed away. Now all of that guilt and all of that stuff is starting to come up, and now you want somebody else to wallow in it with you, and you want Lewis to do it, but you want to wallow in it, and you want to be able to still have the carnal pleasures with him as well. Going at your business, Tony. So he goes through that, and I believe she signs the papers, and that is the it. That's it with that. I'm hoping so. So now let's get into the professional life. So again, we get back with Ozzy and his family and all of this other stuff. Ozzy is just, I don't know what it is about him. He is acting real despondent. He is acting like he does not care about anything. He's acting like stuff doesn't matter. He's not telling Jax stuff. So what inevitably happens is that Jax gets her private investigator to try to get some information and stuff. He comes back, and Daniel comes back, and he tells Tony, he said, excuse me, he tells Jax, listen, let's see, who is that? No. Here's Daniel. Daniel tells Jax, listen, the word on the curb is there's a video of Ozzy and Wendy arguing. It's a ring camera from the neighbor's house. And it's about to be released. And it shows, Ozzy arguing with Wendy. When Jax was letting him know about the video, and then she asked him, she said, well, what did you do after you were arguing? He said he went inside to go to sleep. And so she's giving him the side eye, but she lays out to Ozzy what he's in for and all the information and stuff like that. And he's kind of cavalier about it. He's like, oh, okay. She tells him, advise him to call the assistant, put out a reward for to somebody to help to assist him to find Wendy and to call Wendy to see where she is because he's acting like he just does not care. And again, Jax updates her firm, and all they see is billable hours. And that's all they're worried about. Oh, well, we can get these billable hours and we can do all of this stuff. Uh, Jax goes to the DA to ask, is this a missing person case or a homicide? And he's kind of coy about everything. He's not saying too much. Daniel goes and Daniel, the private investigator, goes to see uh Nichelle, who is the assistant. And Nisha tells him, she didn't come. She never misses her appointments. It doesn't matter what it is. She could be drunk, she could be high, she could be whatever, but she never misses her appointments when she's styling someone. And Nisha said, she got real worried because she could not access the tags that they put in the designer bags. So now we find out that the designer bag that she was carrying that night had an air tag in it. She couldn't access it, so she went to the police, and that was the reason why she went to the police to file the thing. The police accessed it, and they said that they found her purse, her keys, her wallet, and all that on the side of the road on Highway 91. So Jax goes to the family to discuss the air tags. Jax is pissed off because he doesn't tell her that. Ozzy's doesn't seem like he gets what's going on. He refused. He fires. He doesn't get what's going on. Everybody is talking because the family's there. Everybody is talking around and all this other stuff. And he's like, I want y'all to hush. I want y'all to stop talking to me. And he fires Jax. Now, Bill is over there shitting bricks because, again, he's got to report to the partners about what's going on. And Ozzy, and Jax is not concerned. Jax is not concerned because she's like, he's about to be in more trouble than he's ever realized in his life. And that he's going to call her. She knows that. He is going to call her and he is going to hire her back. Let's see. And as predicted, there's a news interview with Wendy's sister and the assistant. And the assistant calls out Ozzy because Ozzy doesn't do any of the things that Jax has outlined for him to do. He doesn't call Wendy. He doesn't call Nisha. He doesn't even fill up an award for her. He doesn't do any of those things. And what happens is the news broadcast is shown of Wendy's sister and Nisha says, "Where are you, Ozzy? No one has heard from you. You hadn't said anything since she's been gone." And baby, these young people are into social media and all this stuff that's going down the lane for social media happens. And now he's concerned because his image is taking a hit. His image is taking a hit and his family is in there talking about everything. And, they're trying to go over strategies and stuff like that. He doesn't want to hear any of that. And baby, there's a big knock at the door. It's the police. And the police come in, a guns a blazing. They come in and they tell him that Wendy's phone pinged the last time they had this phone pinged was at the residence. And so they came through to search the residence because they were searching for his home. Now Ozzy is starting to get real with Ozzy. He's starting to see, oh, this is some bull crap. There's a lot of stuff going on. So he called Corey. To talk to Jax because now it's starting to get real. So Jax talks to Corey and says, listen, he doesn't want to follow my directions, and I'm not going to do anything if I'm not in control or charge of this thing. So Ozzy comes out from behind Corey and says, listen, I'll listen. Would you listen to me? Would you let me kind of plead my case? He's upset. Ozzy hopes that Wendy's alive, but he doesn't know. He's deflecting about not why he didn't call Nisha back. Again, what is Corey's role? Is he going to be her second chair because he no longer works with the firm? I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. So after she listens to what Ozzy says, she decides to be his lawyer. Uh, Then we find out that the cops find Wendy's body and at the cabin that is owned by Ozzy and his family. And they also find out that she has been pew-pewed by a weapon that is licensed to Ozzy, that's owned by him. That is Negro panicking. Oh baby, FAFO is FAFO is happening real. This man is starting to shake and stutter and get all hyperventilating and all kinds of stuff. And he's so upset because she's telling him, "I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. There is going to be a warrant out for your arrest, and you will be arrested for second-degree murder because everything points to you." Baby, when I tell you he was hemming and hawing and hyperventilating, he goes into the bathroom and then again, he's trying to call Alex. And he calls Alex and he leaves a message saying, "Look, I'm about to be arrested. You need to call me back." But he doesn't tell Jax about Alex. Now, remember I told you when Jax decides to quit and not be Ozzy's attorney? Well, Bill goes back and he rats that stuff to the partners that that she quit the case and everything like that. And he feels like the boy needs representation and other stuff like that. But I'm curious as to why are the partners so into this case? Why are they so into wanting to know about Jax in this case? And then secondly, if Jax is a partner, because you can tell that there's tension in the room when they have these meetings. If Jax being a partner, she is really not. She seems to be a partner on paper, but not in principle and not in action, because it's something going on with those two men, those two white men, the partner that Jax is not privy to, and they're not talking to Jax about it. But whatever it is, there is this huge concern about Jax and her future with the firm. That's what it feels like to me. Y'all let me know. So Ozzy spends the night at Jax's house. Now remember, all of this is going on simultaneously with Lewis being over there with Tony. So Jax tells Ozzy that he's going to spend the night with her. And she tells Corey, "You brought him here. I'm going to go to sleep. My daughter is in their sleep. You going to sleep in the hallway because he's got no business coming back this way. If he's on the couch, he's on the couch. He don't have no business nowhere else in the house, and you're going to keep watch." He doesn't have no problem with that. So the next morning, she's wanting to negotiate his arrest, and he doesn't want her to leave. He's still panicked out, and so she calls Bill. Bill goes over to the DA. They negotiate his arrest, and she tells him, "Well, what I want you to do is breathe, because he now it's real." Now it's real. He was just kind of acting like it. He was acting unbothered about it. He was acting real despondent about it. But now it's real. And so they showed the little montage of him being arrested and fingerprinted and all of these little different things. And one of the things that happened through all of this is that even though he's going through this, a police officer asked him to sign his book or something like that. Because remember, he is an artist. He is a movie star. Child, when I tell you a mess, I am telling you a mess. You hear me? Now, let's get into this really, really quick. Let's get into this real quick. We're going to share the screen. So, at the end of every episode, we have Ozzy, what you hiding? So, here we are for episode 2, 1,000,001 questions. So, let's go over the questions that we have via episode 2. The first one: why are the partners using Bill to spy on Jax? What's going on at that office? Why do they need to know her day-to-day schedule of what she's doing? They've not worried about her day-to-day schedule before. What's going on now? Again, why is Ozzy so despondent and why he's not following Jax's recommendation? Why is Ozzy refusing to tell Jack's information? It's just like pulling teeth to try to get any information out of Ozzy. And that's particularly about these air tags. He knew that there were air tags in that designer bag. He already knew that. He didn't offer that information when it came to trying to find her or anything like that. He didn't offer any information, even though he knew that she put air tags in those designer bags. Which area of the house was the phone found? Because they made a big thing about with the guns ablazing, but I can't remember what area of the house was Wendy's phone found. And it's fuck around and find out for Ozzy right now. What is Corey's role? Is he going to be the go-between Ozzy and Jax? Jax doesn't need that. But again, what is his role and why does he call him instead of Jax? Who is Alex? Who is Alex? And these are mostly all the questions in regards to the professional life and in the personal life. Why is Jack's father back? What is going on? Why is Jack's father back? Now let's go back to the first episode in the question. The only question that was answered for us is why is Tony suing? Is because she was grieving and she also wanted to have sex with Lewis. All of these other questions, who is Jack crying over at the beginning of the show? We don't know. Why is Bill creepy? We do know that he is working for the firm to keep tabs on Jax, but he still look creepy. What did Ozzy's mom tell him about Wendy? Because ever since she told him something, he's been real despondent. I'm trying to make sure that I did not miss anything. He seems to be real despondent. He's just creepy. Excuse me, not despondent. Uh, so we still have a lot of questions. We only have out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We only have one question answer, but we hopefully have the answers in episode 3. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. What are you thinking about this season so far? We're 2 episodes in, and we know that Wendy is now deceased, and she was pew-pewed in her elbow to the point where she bled out. So we know how she died. We know where she died. She died up at the cabin near his cabin. But we don't know why she died. So we know when she died, we know where she died, we know how she died, but we don't know why she died. Do we have any suspects? The only persons that we see so far is Ozzy. Because we don't have any information to show that anybody else did we don't have any other information. But hopefully it'll pick up some speed in episode 3. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.